Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. And thank you so much for having me here, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and get to speak with you all about the Civic Holidays and how they've expanded this year and how Campus Takeover is here to make it really easy for all of your institutions to participate and celebrate the Civic Holidays this year. As Mike mentioned, my name is Eddie Zerby. I'm the Special Projects Director for the Students Learn, Students Vote Coalition. We are the national hub and largest nonpartisan network dedicated to increasing student voter engagement across the country. While we don't have people working on college campuses ourselves, we do work with over 400 partners, and this includes like nonprofits, staffers, campuses directly, students, etc. That all together have a presence on nearly 2,000 campuses. So I'm really happy to be here and speak to you all about one of our largest initiatives, which is Campus Takeover. But the thing that I'm most excited about is that it's not just me talking to you all about Campus Takeover today, but we're also have a few speakers lined up to talk about how they have celebrated civic holidays on their campuses in the past and how they're doing it this year to start kind of getting the creative juices flowing and allow you all to start thinking about how you might celebrate yourself. But yeah, so we're going to go through, I'll give a quick overview at the top, queue up our speakers from each campus. We're going to do a communal special activity, group activity to make this a little bit more interactive, and then round it out with some questions from the group. But of course, if there are any questions that come up throughout, just please go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll try our best to answer them as they come up. But no, there's also a spot at the end. But first, just a general overview of what all of this is. So in case you all are not aware or, just entering a space or whatever it might be, I'm sure by now you would have seen something about National Voter Registration Day, National Voter Education Week, Vote Early Day, and Election Hero Day. These are traditionally the four major civic holidays that we've been advertising. National Voter Registration Day, of course, has been around the longest and has been around since 2012. And what happened here is essentially, I've always referred to it as like the biggest day for voter registration or elections related conversations outside of election day itself. It historically, and for the last, since 2012, it has been nearly impossible to not hear about voter registration on National Voter Registration Day. And millions of people in these last years have been able to register to vote on National Voter Registration Day. And the thing is that the reason it was so successful, and I think so many people loved it, was because it was an open holiday. Anybody could celebrate it. It was very easy to jump into a national momentum, and it was very easy to make it fun and exciting for people to celebrate this. So realizing that just getting registered to vote doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go actually vote. Last year, there were 3 new holidays that started up to help address other parts of the voter engagement process, right? Actually getting educated on how to vote and what's on your ballot with National Voter Education Week, and then actually going out to vote on Vote Early Day, and then celebrating all the work that went into making this happen, whether it was volunteers, election officers, election administrators, poll workers, whatever it might be, celebrating their accomplishments and their work on Election Hero Day. But what we heard after last year of having all of these holidays start up was that now maybe there was just too many holidays, or maybe it was just a little hard to navigate where all this information was and how people could celebrate and how people could make it their own. And so this year, all the holidays came together to make civicholidays.org, which is a one-stop shop to be able to learn more about how you can celebrate the civic holidays, how they all tie in together, and how you can sign up for all of them. And as mentioned, the reason we love the civic holidays is that it makes it really, really easy to take your students through the voter engagement process and make sure you're creating lifelong voters in a very easy and fun way. So we've got, for years now, we've been celebrating NVRD. A lot of folks have started jumping on with National Voter Education Week, Vote Early Day, and Election Hero Day last year. So we've got a lot of examples and really cool ideas from campuses on how they've been celebrating these. And we think that ultimately what it does is it's a great opportunity for campuses to help students get ready to become voters. It is literally impossible to escape voting on these days. And so it's a great opportunity for your campus to join a national conversation and make it very fun to take students from registration to education to turnout and then celebration. I won't go too much in depth on each of the holidays because we do have a lot of information online at civicholidays.org. but I do want to just briefly mention them. So National Voter Registration Day, as mentioned, has been around since 2012. Since then, nearly 3 million voters have registered on this holiday to date. I actually think this number might be a little bit bigger and not be including 2020 numbers. But this year, it's always held on the fourth Tuesday of September. This year, it's going to be September 28th, 2021. After that, we are taking from voter registration, we're going into voter education, right? So National Voter Education Week is a nonpartisan digital voter education campaign held the first week in October that equips voters with the tools, information, and confidence they need to cast their ballots. And the way that it works is that each day is actually a different theme. So you could be vote ready, hashtag vote ready, which is a day to help students go through their voting plan and actually think through how they're actually going to be casting their ballot and learning the different options they have, all the way to hashtag we ready, which is more about a day about how to go above and beyond voter engagement and how to help others get registered or actually cast their ballot, either by signing up to be a poll worker or registering your friends to vote or something like that. And in between, we have days to talk about how to mail in ballots, how to actually go find your nearest polling place, or how to find information on what's on your ballot this year, who the candidates are, what are the issues you're voting on, etc. After that, we have Vote Early Day, which is a huge collaboration between media companies, nonprofits, tech platforms, election administrators, influencers, campuses, and so many people to help eligible voters learn about their early voting options and celebrate the act of voting early. Early voting is available in most states, and this holiday allows you to really celebrate and make it easy for students to be able to go vote early. We always recommend voting early because not only do we think that it's usually a little bit easier to vote on early than it is on election day itself, it also allows you to address any issues that might come up through the voting process and still have election day as sort of a backup in case you see anything come up when voting early. Doesn't happen often, but for a lot of reasons, we always urge people to vote early. As Pam mentioned in the chat, Vote Early Day is still celebrated nationwide, even if you don't have a local or state election this year to be able to actually celebrate. We're actually going to include those types of strategies and ideas in our toolkit, as well as in our webinars, which I'll talk about in just a second, about how campuses can still celebrate, even if they don't have an immediate election in November. But of course, lastly, we have Election Hero Day, which is just a day of recognition. We recognize that making elections happen is a team effort, and we want to celebrate the members, the leaders who were able to make Election Day happen. And so it's just one other opportunity for campuses to raise awareness about the upcoming election and make sure student leaders are thanked for all the work that they've been doing to make it happen. But of course, what we're here to talk to you about is, Campus Takeover and how this applies to all of it. So Campus Takeover was started in, I want to say 2018, and it was originally a program that helped campuses celebrate National Voter Registration Day. We recognized that campuses are very unique places where there's an amazing opportunity for civic engagement and for helping students, but they're also very unique in the strategies they can explore and also implement. And so we wanted to make a community that helped campuses plan these events for themselves, right? Recognizing that not all the strategies are going to work for college students as they do in other communities. So what Campus Takeover did is that we started making resources for folks, and we just to make it very easy to celebrate these holidays and then also make the celebrations even bigger. This year is the first year that we're expanding beyond National Voter Registration Day to include all of the civic holidays like National Voter Education Week and Vote Early Day. And we're still going to be giving the same sort of resources and support that we have traditionally give in just for National Voter Registration Day. So that's going to include toolkits that are basically step-by-step guides that make it very easy for your campus to celebrate the different holidays and little tips and tricks throughout on how to really kind of take these events to the next level. We also host webinars. So earlier this year, we already did a webinar on just kind of general reminders like how to stay nonpartisan. And I'll include that in just a bit. This is a great question. So like I said, earlier this year, we did a webinar on how to stay nonpartisan and featured some great speakers from campuses that have done all the civic holidays already, talking about how they've celebrated them before. Tomorrow is actually our next webinar. It's going to be from 5 to 6 Eastern time. It's going to be on communication strategies, and it's going to be a very interactive and hands-on workshop where we're actually going to take you through how people can write an op-ed, or how people can write a letter to the editor, or how you could pitch whatever events you might be doing to local press to help raise awareness about what your campus is doing. It's going to be a really fun one. I hope you all sign up. Mike just put the URL in the chat. Thank you so much for doing that. You can find all the webinars in there, the recordings, as well as future registration links. After the comp support, we're going to do a webinar on volunteer recruitment and engagement, and then end the campus takeover season with a launch party before National Voter Registration Day, to get us all excited for the civic holiday season. The other major part that campus takeover helps with is with funding. And so today is actually the deadline for this. I'm going to post a special link to give you all access to the application link at the end of this, in case you're not signed up for campus takeover yet. But we have $50,000 to give to campuses to help with your civic holidays. These are grants that are max $500. So it's not the most amount of money, but it's also a 10-minute application. So it's very, very easy to fill this out and get these $500 to be able to help take your events to the next level. And the funding is, I'd like to say unique, because it's very flexible as to where it can go. And so, for example, it can go to campuses directly. If you have a campus foundation or department that is very easy to donate to, we can definitely do that. If you are a student or work with students very closely that have a student organization, but that might not be through the campus bank account, we can still give to that. We can give to individuals as well. We've given to students before, and we can give to 501c3 community organizations that are doing these events on a campus. As long as you're hosting a civic holiday event on your campus this year, in person or virtually, you can apply for the grants. Like I said, max $500, but it's a 10-minute application. I will get you all a unique link at the end of this to get you special access to the application in case you have not signed up for Campus Takeover yet. But make sure you sign up for Campus Takeover, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. I'll talk about that right now. So it's very easy to sign up for Campus Takeover this year. All you do is go to civicholidays.org/partner. I will post that link in just a second as well. And what it is that it's one communal form. It lets you select which civic holidays you are planning to celebrate. And then there's going to be a question there near the end of the form that asks if you are organizing a civic holiday event on a college campus. If you put yes to that, that will sign you up for Campus Takeover, and you will be on our email list and get access to all the resources, toolkits, webinars that we are putting out there. Like I said, traditionally, we only send the mini grant application to people who have signed up as a partner already. But since we're right at the deadline today, I'll make sure to get y'all a unique link that gives you access to the application without having to do the sign up just yet. Please sign up though, because we are going to be confirming that you have signed up as a partner before actually distributing funds. Very, very quickly, I know we want to get to the speakers in here of so what does this actually look like on a campus, right? I get it, a lot of great ideas, a lot of ways to get students involved. What are folks actually doing? I did want to pitch that we have already released the National Voter Registration Day Toolkit. You can find that on the Campus Takeover page that Mike just posted a little earlier, a couple minutes ago. This is what all of our toolkits are going to generally look like. Like I said, it's a do-it-yourself guide. It takes you step by step through the whole event making and process. So from kind of setting goals and building a leadership team to recruiting and engaging volunteers and training volunteers, to learning about your state applicable registration laws and seeing best examples related to online tools or best practices that can help make your online events a little bit more interactive. All of that is in there. With tips and reminders throughout, as well as addendums near the end that help make this very, very easy. We've got op-ed templates, we've got letters to the editor templates, we've got press pitch templates. We're making this as easy as possible to just have a really great event focused on National Voter Registration Day. And you're going to see very similar toolkits coming out soon that do the same with the other civic holidays. The other thing I'll mention is that if there is any feedback as y'all are going through the toolkits, please reach out to us. These are living documents, and so we're able to make edits, include new best practices, or include new resources that might be helpful as needed. And so always feel free to reach out if you have any feedback or questions. And like I mentioned, coming up next is going to be the toolkits on National Voter Education Week and Vote Early Day. But if you actually go to the Campus Takeover page that Mike just linked, we already have some additional resources there on how to celebrate Constitution Day. It's not a civic holiday. We don't have like a central organizing body that's actually like taking registrations or helping to distribute best resources or anything like that. But we recognize it's a great opportunity for campuses. So we do have some partner resources there, as well as Election Hero Day and anything else that kind of comes up that we think is applicable. The last thing I'll mention before kicking it over to our speakers is right now, please sign up as soon as possible. Our deadline for the mini grant applications, and I'll pull this up as we move over to the speakers, is today. So please fill this out. It only takes 10 minutes to apply for funding. It's very, very easy. And it's an easy $500 to help with your events. Tomorrow, please mark your calendars for our next webinar on communication strategies. It's going to be a lot of fun. And be on the lookout. The National Voter Education Week Toolkit should be coming up very, very soon. If there are any questions, any ideas, anything you want to discuss about the Civic Holidays or Campus Takeover, you can always feel free to email us. It's campustakeover@allianceforyouthorganizing.org. I forgot to mention this at the very beginning. We actually run Campus Takeover in conjunction with the Alliance for Youth Organizing, which is a great 501c3 nonpartisan youth organizing group. So we have both the community group aspect and the campus aspect, helping to run this program and get you all the resources that you need. With all of that said, I did want to go ahead and turn it over to some of our campus speakers. I think we're moving along well, but we can go ahead and just go to the speakers and then save Q&A till the end. If there are any questions though, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll be on the lookout for them. But first up, we actually have JLP Prince. JLP works at Agnes Scott College, is a very in Georgia, has been a partner with the coalition and with the Civic Holidays for a while now, and has some great strategies that we've already seen in their application and how they've celebrated in the past. And so we wanted to cue them up today to speak with you all about how they've celebrated in the past and maybe what they're thinking about for this year. JLP, do you want to go ahead and start?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. As Eddie already mentioned, I am JLP Prince. I work at Agnes Scott College. And so in the past, we've done a variety of things for our National Voter Registration Day. One of our things that we typically do during election years is we actually turn it into a voter information and registration fair. And so as a private institution, we have a little more leeway than some public institutions do, but we invite all of the parties registered in Georgia, plus the Green Party, because we have a student organization for the Green Party, to have a table on campus to talk about their platforms and their candidates for office. And then in addition to that, we have nonpartisan tables, specifically getting students registered to vote. And then we partner with the local League of Women Voters, who has an amazing guide to understanding the nonpartisan ballot initiatives that are going to be on the ballot as well. And so we hire a DJ. If the budget allows, we get food trucks, and we just kind of have a party on the quad with these representatives. The libertarians always bring out their map of where are you on the political spectrum? And it's, for me, I love it because it's educational, because they are trying to get people to think outside of the two-party system, but it's a larger, more educational thing for our students in terms of especially coming in as first years, maybe I don't agree with what my parents shared with me. So that's one of the things that we have done historically. This year, National Voter Registration Day actually falls during our version of homecoming. So as a small private women's college. We don't have a football team, obviously. And so our version of homecoming is called Black Cat Week, and it's a competition between the classes. And so each class takes over the dining hall for dinner each night of the week. And so we are going to have a table in the dining hall themed for that class to specifically target them for voter registration throughout that entire week. We've also been in conversation about doing our usual block party as well. And then for National Voter Education Week, one of the things that we are still in talks with, but trying to finalize, we have a city council election coming up, and that is nonpartisan. And so we're in discussion with the city about hosting a candidate forum on our campus that would be open to the broader public to attend and would be live streamed as well. And so we've applied and thankfully been granted some takeover funding to help offset some of the costs related to that event. Last year, because of the pandemic, all of our students were remote. And so for National Voter Registration Day, we mailed every single student a packet that had information about how to register to vote, information about how to get an absentee ballot, a Scotty's Vote face mask that they could wear if they had to go vote in person, depending on what state they were in. We also, for our undocumented students who may not be eligible to vote, we included postcards about how to write to, a resource about how to write to elected officials, as well as postcards and postcard stamps so that they could write. And buttons, stickers, your usual swag items. And so we were very grateful to receive funding from the Ask Every Student initiative, which I believe is still taking applications as well, to initiate that program and literally mail all 1,200 students that live within the US information about how to register to vote. So that's what we've done on our campus. We are tiny. I'm an office of, there's 3 people total in my office, but I'm the only one with civic engagement in my job description and title. But I have an amazing group of student leaders who are passionate about it, who help support and make this happen.
Awesome. Thank you, JLP. A lot of like really great themes to see there, right? Like great use of swag and celebrations to help make this fun and help increase interest. One of the things I really liked mentioning that that JLP mentioned there was incorporating this into existing events, right? Or like campus culture that or campus cultural events that might already be taking place. So maybe some of these events happen in or around homecoming, right? Like that is a very easy way. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with any of these holidays. And there's very easy ways to integrate it into things that you already know your campus is going to get excited about. And then just kind of add like a voting component to it, a very easy and quick one to it. And the last thing that I really like, right, is like maintaining it very nonpartisan, making it very easy for students to make their, to get their own information, but know that it's like, we just want to make it easy for you to get this information. We just want you to be heard in the process, and working with a really diverse coalition to help make that happen, right? And increase the amount of information that they can get, but still making it easy and fun to do so. Are there any questions for JLP on kind of some of the ideas they talked through or have done or thinking about? Anything come up before we move on? All right. Well, as mentioned, we're going to be monitoring the chat. And again, thank you so much, JLP, for speaking with us today. We'll see if maybe some questions come up in the chat. So if anything does come up, feel free to put them in there. We're also going to have a moment later on that's going to be a little bit more interactive. So there could be a good opportunity there to also get some additional feedback or ask questions of some of our campus spotlights today. But for our next campus spotlight, we are actually going to be joined by Sebastian Canales, who is actually a student at Cleveland State University in Ohio. But Sebastian is actually on the CVP Student Advisory Board, They're also on the SLSV advisory board as well. Very active student in the space who is now taking his experiences working on Civic Holidays into his new campus. So Sebastian, if you want to take it from here.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Yes, I'm very excited to be working with Cleveland State University. I joined the Student Government Association that is on campus, and I've been talking with the SGA president, the president of the college, and really trying to incorporate a more civically engaged approach in a lot of the things that already exist. So so the website that we currently have is not the best. It certainly is functionable, but it's not the most modernized. And so really trying to incorporate voter education into already existing areas that students utilize on a day-to-day basis. So that way students are not going to have to, hunt down staff or faculty in order to find answers to what could probably be simple questions. So sort of revamping that website, and then for these holidays, sort of creating a flashing banner on the CSU website that sort of spans the top of the screen to let the student know that either it's National Voter Registration Day or National Vote Early Day, to remind the students to make their voice heard. And CSU is a campus of 17,000 students, so that's a lot of students that we have at our reach. And in Cleveland in particular, there is a mayoral race that is happening in November, and the primary is happening next month. And so we haven't actually had a mayoral race in about 16 years. So it's sort of bringing the importance to that mayoral race is going to be at the forefront of the initiatives that I take part in, because a lot of the students live on campus. And so at least I want to make sure that their voices are being heard. Additionally, working with the Student Government Association, sort of sending college-wide emails, reminding folks, register to vote. If you live in Cleveland or in 2, 4, 6 other cities in Northeast Ohio that are having either mayoral elections or city council member elections, to make sure that they're going out and making their voices heard also. And then tabling sessions. I started class last Monday, and we've had tabling sessions throughout I think, two or three out of the 5 days last week, and then having subsequent sessions throughout the next couple of weeks, just to make sure that students have enough resources and education. But something that I really liked that JLP said was just making it fun. I really liked that aspect that they mentioned of making it fun, not making it as serious as sometimes voting can oftentimes be. And I really love the idea of bringing a DJ to campus. So that's certainly something that I will echo to the higher ups to see if it's possible. But then also, giving away tools that students are going to be able to use on a daily basis. So like pens, pins like JLP mentioned, and just trying to make it fun, because I think that is going to really reel in the students if they have questions, or just creating a sort of atmosphere of openness and of the student being able to ask questions to us. And then also just, I have been talking about incorporating like a small little table at basketball games. Basketball is really big on the campus. So if there are going to be, thousands, maybe not thousands, but close to a couple thousand people at the event center, why not have a little tabling session where they can get resources and we could register folks to vote when they're already there.
Yeah, it's like you're over here reading my notes, Sebastian. Like every day I wake up and I'm like, make democracy fun, meet people where they are.
A lot of really good best practices and points here to uplift, right? Making democracy fun, doing some really cool events that you know the campus is going to be excited about already, or integrating into those, I should say. One thing that really stood out, I think that's really cool, especially with this year. Last year our NBRD toolkit really focused on how to make these things online, right? Knowing of where we were, but knowing that we are going to have a lot more in-person opportunities, and we've had that year to sort of practice and see where where it makes sense to do online versus where it makes sense to be in person, such as there a way to do hybrid, right? Like I think using technology, and how Sebastian mentioned earlier, like integrating into some of these websites that students are going to be at, like these are some cool ways to be able to help celebrate, and could still be applicable even if you are mostly going to be in person, or fully in person. JLP with a great comment here. On National Vote Early Day, students have also held voting parties where they've completed absentee ballots together, separate but together, and then providing postage for those that didn't provide response envelopes. So a lot of different ways to be able to help celebrate some of these. Again, if there are any questions, please either go ahead and unmute yourself or put them in the chat. I'll pause for a few seconds though, just see if there's anything on people's minds so far. And if not, we can move to the next speaker. All right, y'all. Well, thanks again so much, Sebastian. Like I mentioned, go ahead and put things in chat if there's anything that comes up, but we'll just go ahead and keep it moving. Up next, we have Josh Young, who's the director of the Institute of Civic Engagement and Democracy at Miami-Dade College in Florida. Josh, again, has been a great partner on this for several years now and has some great ideas already starting for this year. So Josh, if you want to take it from here.
Great. Thank you so much, Eddie. Thank you, Mike. So yeah, I'm at Miami-Dade College. We're a huge community college in Miami-Dade County. Just a little bit about us. We have 8 campuses, about 90,000 credit students. Most of our students are first generation. More than half of our students are non-native English speakers, about 74% Hispanic, 16% Black. And I've been here for more than 20 years. And I don't know, we don't have time to go into it. Like whose idea was it to start National Voter Registration Day? I know it was started in 2012, but I just want to thank like whoever has been responsible for starting that and then adding all these other civic holidays, because being on the ground here, it's so helpful. It's such a great framework to organize around, to get internal support for, to make the case for making voting more prominent in our institutions. And I know prior to 2012, from my perspective, there was very little attention paid to voter engagement, maybe every 4 years during the presidential election, but it's just really heartwarming to see what's going on nationally. Every year there's more and more attention about how important this work is in higher ed. And Mike, I especially want to thank you for all that you've done for many years. So I've got, we can go to the next slide. I've got some things that we've done over the years. I think some of them are pretty cool. They're related to what JLP and Sebastian were talking about. Maybe it'll give you some ideas. Maybe some of these are things that you've already done. I have some great images of some of the things we've done. But one of the keys was just to have a lot of internal partners, and like every department here from within the college was so helpful in pulling off all the things I'm about to show you. And by the way, I dropped my email in the chat. If anybody has additional questions, you can keep going. And we also had a ton of external partners. So we had more than 30 students who were paid interns from CEAP, from Andrew Goodman Foundation, CVP, Students Learn, Students Vote, and all these other partners played key roles. External funders, we had funding from Civic Nation, Joy of Voting. So some of the things we've done over the years for NVRD, I'll show you some images. Like just to make it a celebration, you can see we had t-shirts made. We had celebrities. I think this year we had Wilmer Valderrama there. I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but in Miami, he's a big deal. He was on that 70s show. That woman there was the supervisor of elections at the time. thousands of students at our downtown campus. You can keep going, Eddie. You know, we had some grant funding and funding from Student Life to hire stilt walkers. We had parades. We had local high school marching bands. As you can imagine, we got a lot of great press coverage. This was a year where we bussed in students from all 8 campuses downtown. That's our former president, Eduardo Padron, who's a legend in higher ed. That's one of the reasons we were able to do so much. We had great support from, and we continue to have great support from our administration. And Sebastian and JLP were talking about making it fun. So we had jousting on the top right there. That's a mask of Hillary Clinton. We also had one with Donald Trump and people, you know, pie throwing. We had a dunk tank. As you can imagine, students really got into it and enjoyed it. And if you look on the right, we had these buttons made and it said, this is why I vote. And then the section in the middle was white and it was blank. We give people a permanent marker and we asked them, why is voting important to you? Why are you going to vote? So they would write a reason down and we give them the button, and that worked really well. We also got these little wristbands made with our website and all kinds of information tables. This is from another campus, just images. So one of the most important things we did was, because we're a community college, we really needed faculty's help to help raise students' awareness about the importance of voting. So I don't know if you can read it, but we offered a workshop 13 times. It was called Fostering Voting Engagement Across All Disciplines. We had over 200 faculty attend these workshops. And we talked about all the civic holidays, and some of the objectives for that workshop were to identify course competencies and MDC learning outcomes related to voter engagement. We talked about how important it is to be nonpartisan, the steps for a student to be election ready. And we have our own website, mdc.edu/vote. So that was a big part of the workshop. It was to introduce that website to faculty and talk about how they could integrate into their class. And in the end, faculty designed an election ready module for implementation in their course. So this was key to our success over the years. Again, this is our website, and we had our students make a really amazing video talking to other students about why voting. This is what it looks like now, but prior to the election, and last year was really built up with everything you can imagine, a one-stop place to get voting information. So last year we did webinars throughout the whole election cycle, including on National Voter Registration Day, election ready webinars. We also had a drop-in webinar session for students just to come in and ask questions about voter registration. And then during National Voter Education Week, we had 8 different events, and we promoted them college-wide. Like our president sent an email to all 90,000 students, you know, social media, on the college website. This is an example of one of the social media posts, and also it looked like this when we go out through email sometimes, because we had the campuses sent out emails, the presidents did. We tried to get the information out there as much as, because we were entirely online last year. So I'm sure all of you were, or most of you were. So during National Voter Education Week, we had 8 events. You can't really see them there, but Be Election Ready, Decoding the Ballot, Healthcare and Voting, Fake News and Elections, Analyzing Political Platforms, Building a Better Miami, Make Your Mark Miami. That was our signature event, which I'll talk about in a minute. We also screened the documentary or the movie The Vote. So our signature event was this called Make Your Mark Miami. And it was, you can go to the next slide. It was we did it on Facebook Live. We had over 2,000 people participate live. And then it's even up till now, it's on YouTube. So we had 16 local poets, dancers, singers, artists. We had Richard Blanco, who was the presidential inaugural poet for Obama in 2013. We had, it closed out with Skip Marley, who's a grandson of Bob Marley. It was a really cool event. We had voter education mixed in with artists doing performances and singing, and all with a message around the importance of voting. We had the League of Women Voters do a presentation, Engage Miami. And I have a 60-second clip so you can get a sense of what that event was like. Yeah, that was a really cool event, as you can see. Something else we have at Miami-Dade College that's been quite helpful, especially during COVID. We have something called the Civic Action Scorecard that has 75 civic actions, and about 28 of them are related to democratic engagement. So students can complete actions and earn points. So we tied that into everything we were doing and encouraged students to do these and earn the Civic Action Award. And again, if anybody wants more information, just send me an email. So Vote Early Day, we were lucky. We had a partnership with Vote Your Future and the League of Women Voters, and they provided free Lyft rides to vote early. So we had 304 students who took advantage of free Lyft rides to vote early. All of the campuses sent emails to every single student at college, and a lot of those 300 students took friends and family because the Lyft ride was for as many people as you could fit into the vehicle. Yeah, so some of our promotion of the free Lyft vouchers. And we also did another concert with that same DJ to promote early voting day, early vote day. So I think I'm out of time, but that's my information. I'll be glad to share anything else. And again, thank you all for giving us this framework. And I'm really excited. It's really making it easier for us to do our work.
Thank you so much, Josh. I mean, too much to really like even pull out. Like there was a lot of best practices, a lot of great ideas here. I do want to say two things that I want to emphasize to the group. First is that like this is all really, really incredible work, and Josh is also a very hardworking and incredible person. But like, look at how many partners he was working with to make this happen, right? Internal coalitions that he was building, external community groups that he was bringing to the table to be able to help make some of these things happen. You know, a lot of that we really try to emphasize in our toolkits and in our webinars about how that can help take your work to the next level. And that's exactly where it shows, right? Being able to bring in some of these community groups, community artists, activists, et cetera, to kind of bring in a different perspective, add capacity. And the other thing was using available resources. You know, obviously we understand that institutional resources can be difficult to move sometimes and be very slow to move sometimes, and can take years to really build the case for several resources to be put towards civic engagement at an institution. But there's groups to help fill in the gaps where possible. Obviously 2020 was a great year in terms of funding, but Josh really did look for every single opportunity possible. Like, you know, as JLP mentioned, there's Ask Every Student grants. There's grants that are done through like Civic Nation. There's grants that I've been talking about through Campus Takeover, CVP. There's a lot of organizations here that are willing to help and want to help. And so just staying plugged into the network and finding out kind of where those resources are can really help out. So I know we are running up on time, but I did want to allow us to, I actually am not sure if we're gonna have time for the Jamboard session unless there's not really like any questions from the group. Here, let me go ahead and link this. We can try it. Let's see what we're able to do. So let me link the Jamboard that we put together. We wanted to help make this a little bit interactive for you all, but not necessarily have to put folks on the spot that weren't, comfortable with joining in conversation. So we thought the Jamboard might be an interesting way to do that. We've got 3 like really simple questions here laid out throughout the 3 different Jamboards, and I'll show you in just a second how to actually navigate this. And so if you're not familiar with Jamboard, we'll make it really easy for you. But so essentially, if you click on the link, you're going to go to here, right? Where we've got a couple of sticky notes. Like imagine we're all in person and we're at a whiteboard, and like these are some sticky notes that we're going to be able to just put on that whiteboard to answer these questions. And I think one of the things that we've got 3 different questions laid out here. So maybe we can just take like a communal 5 minutes and at your own pace, just move through the questions that you can. So in the first frame, we have, what are you most excited about for your Civic Holiday celebrations this year? I see someone already jumped in. They're going to be in person. Maybe this is your first year celebrating a specific Civic holiday. You can feel free to mention that. Maybe you already have a cool idea that you're like really looking forward to. Like maybe you already have that DJ booked and you want to mention that. That'd be a great thing to put in the sticky note. But we just want to see generally like, what are people planning and what are they really excited about for this year? And then the other 2 questions that you've got, which you can navigate at the top here, like I'm clicking, what was one easy thing that started taking your celebrations to the next level? So maybe it was just like something that clicked, or like one easy idea that you started implementing. For those of you who are a little bit more experienced in the Civic Holiday celebrations, feel free to answer this one or, whatever. And then lastly, what is one thing you're doing to go beyond the Civic Holidays and institutionalize voter engagement on your campus? Obviously, all of our organizations always share the motivation that we're trying to institutionalize this. We want this to be an active culture of civic engagement with the colleges that we work with, and not just kind of like one-off events. We love the Civic Holidays because it's a great entry point and it's a very fun, celebratory national momentum that happens around major voter registration and engagement deadlines. But obviously each campus is going to be different. And it's about starting to use these to jump off and build a, lifelong commitment to civic engagement. So are there anything that you're doing that helps go beyond the Civic Holidays? Like I said, maybe we can take like 4 to 5 quick minutes, move through the questions at your own pace, y'all. And just we'll have a quick time to wrap up and Q&A discussion there at the end. Also, if there are any questions that come up while we're doing this, feel free to just put it in the chat and we'll be monitoring that. But yeah, if you want to just go ahead and take that, and I might put up some easy listening music to kind of help get the creative juices flowing.
We'll just note while Eddie is working on that, just wanted to reinforce one last time how awesome it is. A lot of the different holidays came up in different areas, but knowing that it makes sense as a cohesive calendar, that we want folks to have the easiest entry point as possible. A number of groups really worked hard to put together a single unified website for all of the civic holidays, even just to adopt the language of referring to them as civic holidays and doing it collectively. So I think folks who have participated in the past, you might be getting individualized emails from National Voter Registration Day or Vote Early Day, but hopefully through those groups, you'll start to see references to the civicholidays.org website for that unified calendar. And even greater, if you look for that Campus Takeover logo or for that link on the Civic Holidays website, you'll know that the content you're getting there, not only is it kind of unified across the holidays, but it's being prepared by folks trying to collect these types of examples and stories that are more campus specific, knowing that all of those holidays also have a bigger kind of reach, trying to reach the broader community and have lots of different partners. So just wanted to highlight that for folks and really kind of be explicit how awesome I think it is that there's a unified site now to go for all this stuff. And if you go to the Campus Takeover part of it, you're going to find campus specific resources for all the holidays.
Thank you so much, Mike. The other reminder that I am remembering, I promised you all earlier, and want to make sure that you don't hop off before being able to get access to it. Like I said, usually we only send out the application for the mini grants out to folks that are already signed up for Campus Takeover. We recognize we're right at the deadline. And so, as long as y'all promise that you're going to go sign up as a partner, and we'll check before distributing grants, you can actually just access the application directly using that link. And so if you, like I said, we're right at the deadline. It's today. So make sure to fill it out right after this call so that we can get you your money. And we'll wait just another, I still see a couple of folks adding ideas here and adding thoughts to the sticky notes. So we'll wait maybe another like 2 minutes and then just kind of open it up for discussion and questions before we close it all out. But I'll play a little bit of music for that.
Yummy all in your tummy. Level up, 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 level up. All this on me so yummy, all this sauce so yummy. No, you want this yummy, yummy all in your tummy. Antes tú me pichabas, ahora yo picheo. Antes tú no querías, ahora yo no quiero. Antes tú me pichabas, ahora yo picheo.
I hate pausing Bad Bunny, but I know we're very quickly getting up on time. I'm seeing a lot of really great ideas here that I want to uplift. We didn't talk much about incorporating with faculty here, but that is something that we definitely see a lot of great examples throughout the coalition with. Like, where else are students going to be besides the classroom? Like, we have organizations that are going to be that do like class wraps and go classroom to classroom to classroom on National Voter Registration Day or any of the other holidays, just literally putting voter registration applications in front of students before class starts. Such an easy way to reach so many students that we didn't talk about really today. And so I'm glad somebody mentioned that. We've got other really, really great things about incorporating other tools like Motivote. We've got a section in our National Voter Registration Day toolkit, and it'll be in the other ones as well, about other digital tools that could be helpful to your efforts, whether it's like Turbo Vote, Motivote, Rock the Vote, sensing a theme here. But just generally, there's a lot of things that can help make it easier for you. We'll go through this and I'm glad y'all were able to go through this, add your own best practices. And I hope you all were reviewing and reading everyone else's here, taking away what you might be able to do this year. I know we're almost at time, so I don't know if there's any other questions or ideas here before I, turn it over to Mike, but I don't know if there was any housekeeping things that Mike needed to discuss.
No, I think I can get with you, Eddie, and we'll